welcome to CT 114. I'm going to turn off the air conditioning, so I'm going to be gone for about 10 seconds. 5, 6, 7, 8, 9, 10. I was trying to figure out the best way to do this class, and what I decided was no YouTube videos this particular class. I'm just going to show you, it'll all be live, this scale drawing stuff. So Austin's here. Jose, did you come in? Jose? No?
Yeah.
Yeah? Jose?
Yeah. Yeah. Oh, no. Oh, no.
Jose Nunez is here, though. So, Jose Nunez, I'm going to mark you here because you are, amazingly enough. Not that it's amazing that you're here. Donna? No. Victor? Victor Gallegos? Enrique? Gregorio? Eric? Eric Mendez Garcia? Arthur Nelson? Brandon? Brandon's going to be a little bit late. Somebody else is, Michael Silva's going to be a little bit late too. Okay, John Sesser, you're here, yeah.
Yeah.
John, refresh my memory. Who do you work for again?
I work for a family company, but my dad is retiring, so.
Are you taking over?
Maybe. I think the business is petering out, and I'm starting my own. I think it's gonna be.
Yeah, because you know, is your dad licensed? Because you know, as his son, he can RMO the company. You can actually get his license. You know about that?
Yeah, it seems like they made the process a little more complicated nowadays, but yeah.
Yeah, they have. They don't make nobody makes anything easy, especially bureaucracies. Okay, Brandon just showed up. That's good. Arthur, are you here yet? Eric Mendez? No. Victor Gallegos? Donna? No. Michael Silva's going to come late. James Stevens? James?
Yeah.
James?
Can you hear me?
Yeah, I got you.
Okay.
Vinny Vasquez? Vinny Vasquez. God dang it. That's 2 sessions in a row, Vinny. That's not good. Ron? And Ryder. Shit, man.
Yes, sir.
Ryder can make it. Anybody can make it. Ryder, you're in another part of the world, right? So is Michael Silva.
Yeah.
Okay, so I'm going to call these names out again. I'm missing Jose Cornejo. I'm missing Donna Davis. Victor Gallegos. God, that is so annoying. I got this damn echo. Eric Mendez. Eric Garcia. Arthur Nelson. Michael Silva. Vinny Vasquez and Braun. All right, well. Okay, hey, good luck. Those guys and gal that didn't make it, and maybe they won't make it, but maybe they will make it. Who knows? So of the 7 people, of the 8 people that I've got in the class right now, by a show of hands, how many of you have some familiarity with drawing to scale? Okay. Austin and Jose? Okay, so Jose, first, tell me about your familiarity with drawing to scale.
I've worked with drafting classes before, back in high school, and I took one last semester.
Okay, cool. Last semester with who?
It was Arturo. What's his name?
With Pat?
No, it was a Mexican professor.
That's
Armando.
Armando Arias.
Yeah.
Armando El Cid Arias.
Yeah, there we go.
Good. And then Austin, what about you?
I just took Patrick's blueprint reading class
Okay.
in the spring, so that's it.
Donna just showed up. Donna, do you have any familiarity with scale drawing?
I took an AutoCAD class and I read plans, a lot of
Okay.
plans.
Okay, good. So you have some familiarity. Good. And then, so Jose Cornejo, did you show up? Yes, you did. Jose Cornejo is now here. Victor Gallegos, Enrique Gregorio, Eric Mendez, Arthur Nelson. Hey, if you see any of those, Michael Silva, Vinny Vasquez, Braun Wintergren, if you see any of those people I called out, if you can remember, just give me a shout if I don't notice them. Okay, so first things first. Let's get to let's do a safety meeting. That's what we're going to do right now. We're going to go to share screen. And
Are you recording the class?
say again, please. Yes, I'm recording. Thank you for reminding me, and I am recording. Yes, thank you so much for reminding me. Let's hide this floating video meeting controls. And then what did I say we were going to do? Oh yeah, sorry. We're going to go to modules. And we're going to go to week 4 to tailgate safety meeting, hand protection. And actually, go back one. I think I click on the page. Well, shit. Did I not embed this? Grr. Huh. Well, that's a drag. Okay, tailgate safety meaning hand protection doesn't appear to have anything up, so I'm going to go back to the modules, and I want to skip ahead just for the heck of it to week 5. All right, I guess it. Okay, so we're going to get this out of order, but all right, here we go. Let's bring this up. Get this thing. How can I get this guy? How can I get this guy big? Let's try that. Okay, that's better. All right, I'll read the introduction. Circular saw, and if you came in late, chime in and tell me who you are, okay? In case Victor, Enrique, Eric, Arthur, Michael, Vinny, or Braun come in. Chime in. All right. Introduction. Circular saw safety. Circular saws, also known as skill saws, which is amazing actually. I guess it's kind of like tissue being called Kleenex, are very handy tools. However, when you plug a saw into a power cord, you have created a power supply for a tool that could easily kill or maim you for life. Therefore, it's important to use common sense and follow the proper procedures when you use a circular saw. Alec, would you continue from there, preparation?
Be sure the saw is unplugged before you inspect or modify it. Use the correct saw depending on which hand you use. If you use your right hand to run a saw, use one with a blade on the left. If you use your left hand to run a saw, use one with a blade on the right. Use the proper blade. A blade that is for cutting wood can shatter tile or masonry. Be sure the blade is balanced. An improperly balanced blade can cause the saw to shudder or jerk in your hands. Adjust the saw blade so it just clears the bottom of the surface being cut. Follow the manufacturer's recommendations. Support the surface being cut. Do not let it move around while you are cutting. This may require 2 supports on each side of the cut and possibly a few clamps. Supports should be sturdy and designed to prevent the blade from being pinched as the surface separates. Keep your work area clean and well lit. Cluttered benches and dark areas invite accidents. While the saw is still unplugged, check the lower blade guard. The lower blade guard is a spring-loaded cover that surrounds the saw blade when not in use. It should retract smoothly and snap back over the blade when released. Check all of the screws and bolts to make sure they are tight, and be sure the switch is off before plugging in the saw.
Okay, let's have Austin, would you please read using the saw?
Using the saw.
Yes.
Using the saw. Wear the proper equipment for the job you are doing. Consider safety goggles, ear protection, and gloves. Make your cuts straight and keep the power cord out of the line of the saw. Keep hands away from the cutting area behind the saw blade. Never remove, strap back, or otherwise modify the guard on the saw.
Okay, let's stop right there for just a second.
Yeah.
Everybody here, I'm assuming, knows what a skill saw is? Yeah?
Yes.
I mean, so chime in if you don't know what a skill saw is. Circular saw, skill type saw. I'm gonna go grab one and just hold it up and show you this guard. So there are many brands of circular saws. Skill seems to have the one that people like the most. It's a worm drive. This is 7 1/4 skill saw. It's basically, it's the workhorse. It's the Ford of construction saws, especially rough construction saws. It has a blade guard that they're just talking about. This one right here. See that? See what that does? Now, enter truthfully, and I promise I won't hold it against you, but in your skill saws, raise your hand if you've ever pegged that guard. Okay, John, for sure, Austin. Really, if you haven't, you probably haven't used one much because they lend themselves to that. But, and when I say peg, I mean shimming the guard open so you don't have to deal with the guard and have the guard be spring release or catch on something. So a lot of people peg the guards, and it's super dangerous. So train yourself not to, or when you're on the work, train yourself to get it going on the work and then peel it back with your left hand, right? If you don't want the spring to make it go up, you can peel it back with your left hand, but it gives you control and you know where your hands are too, and you know what that blade's doing. And another thing I want to say about skill saws is that I had hoped to and planned on doing this next week and then doing a little lab with you guys and a demo on skill saw guides and how cool you can get your skill saw and how precise you can make a skill saw cut if you know what you're doing, especially with this with a guide that you'll make yourself for your particular skill saw and favorite really sharp blade. So, but I may do that next week anyway. So who was reading? Austin, keep going, please.
Stand to the side of the saw to protect yourself from kickback. Keep your finger off the trigger/switch until you are ready to make a cut. Do not wear jewelry or loose clothing. Do not cut a board in the middle that is just lying on two sawhorses. The board will sag or collapse about 2/3 of the way through the cut and cause kickback. Do not push the saw too fast. Never depend on a blade guard to protect you. Use common sense. Do not put anything you do not want to be cut into the path of the blade. When you are done cutting, take your finger off the trigger and do not move the saw. Let the motor and blade come to a complete stop. Never lift or move a saw from a cut while it is still running. Remember, the blade coasts to a stop after the switch is released. Be aware of the necessary time it takes for the blade to come to a complete stop, and don't let it brush up against you.
All right, somebody else finish. Who wants to?
I will.
Okay, John.
Kickback. Kickback is a sudden reaction to a pinch, bound, or misaligned saw blade. Minimize my thing here. Which causes an uncontrolled saw to lift up and out of the workpiece towards the operator. If you feel resistance and notice the motor wind down, take the following steps. Stop forward motion with your saw. Release the trigger and hold the saw steadily in place until the blade comes to a complete stop. Conclusion. In order to stay safe when using a circular saw, remember to use common sense, properly prepare to use the saw and the saw properly. Doing so will help you avoid dangers such as the consequences of kickback and will also help you to work more efficiently.
Yeah, circular saws are inherently dangerous. Does anybody have any stories about a circular saw? Anybody? There can really be dangerous because of that blade, unprotected. Once the guard's retracted, and a lot of people peg that guard open so they have a much easier time of their cut because if you don't, you just let the spring on the guard retract it, you've got to push a little harder. It kind of it adds an element to your cutting. It can sometimes mess you up and can mess up where exactly you want the cut. So a lot of guys will pin it back, and I like to use soft protractors and guides. Go ahead. Somebody ask a question? No?
Do you have any stories?
Yeah. No, I don't really have any stories. I wish I could say I did. Not really. I don't really wish.
Probably a good thing that you
I've never been
have
hurt by
any
one, but I've heard about so many guys getting cut. You know, I've heard about guys cutting their thighs, you know, because they're cutting like this. You know, they've got a piece of wood and they're supporting it by their thigh and they're cutting like that, right? They're cutting down and they got their blade pegged and they release the trigger, the straw's still going, and you know, they nick their leg. I've seen it happen a bunch of times. I've seen a lot of accidents with saws. Skill saws and worm drive type saws are pretty heavy, and yet you're expected to use one hand on them for the most part. There is that handle on top that you should be using, but just to get them started and peel the guard back, it's a one-handed thing. So just be super careful. And what's my definition of safety? Somebody, anybody? Being aware of where you are and all your body parts in relationship to everything else, right? And everything else being this saw and its spinning blade. So be really careful, please, when you're using a saw, a skill saw, any saws for that matter. Controls. Okay, so we're gonna stop screen sharing and get back to people. Okay, so anybody join late? Anybody come in late? Wants to identify themselves? I'm gonna ask maybe a couple more times for Victor, Enrique, Eric, Arthur, Vinny, and Braun. Nope. Okay. Okay. Circular saws. Okay, so has everybody got their book? Is there anybody here that didn't get their book? No? Everybody's got their book? Okay, raise your hand if you've got 11th edition. Nobody's got 11th edition. Raise your hand if that means everybody's got 12th edition, right? Everybody got 12th edition? Well, lo and behold, I have 12th edition too. So I finally got it. I got the 12th edition workbook and the 12th edition. So if has everybody got the workbook as well? Yeah, everybody?
I don't yet. I was going to ask if someone could just send me a picture of the chapter 5 questions.
Yeah, and you can ask me to do that, and I'll do it for you because I want to get this thing down and get just a couple little quizzes, just to some teaser quizzes, just to see if I can get you to read that book, at least chapter 5 for starters. We're going to basically be using 5 and door and window. The door and window one. So we're going to be using chapter 5, the power tools. Is that still chapter 5 in this one too? I got to check. Yeah, chapter 5, and we're also going to be using chapter 21 on doors and interior trim. We might get a little bit into 20 stair construction, which is something that I really like a lot. But 21 and 5 will keep us busy. And get your workbook. And I can, in Austin, if you just contact me separately, I'll get you. I can take a picture of it and get you the.
I'll send you an email.
And I'm going to try to, if I ever get the time to take the time, I'm going to put together some quiz banks and just right out of the book. And I'm still figuring out how to do this. Still a learning curve for me. So,
Hey,
quizzes.
just to clarify, you want us, I have the 12th book, but I ordered the 11th workbook. Is that still going to be fine?
You know, I think you'll be fine. I wouldn't get the 12th because I'll ask questions for the 11th and the 12th, since right
Okay.
now it's kind of a mix and mash. So, and you should be able to find the answers for 11 in 12. That chapter is essentially exactly the same. Poll classes who has what? Okay, so drafting to scale, drawing to scale. So can anybody get a volunteer to chime in and tell me what you think drawing to scale means? What does it mean when I say draw to scale? Like, let me ask you this. This on the board behind me, that's a sketched and dimensioned drawing, 3 views. Is that to scale? Yes or no? Anyway, it should be obvious that it's a big no, NTS, not to scale. Is that to scale? No, it's not to scale. It should say NTS. So drawing to scale, since I didn't get anybody to chime in and give me a definition, I'll have to make one up myself. I don't have a ready-made definition for you, but just suffice to say that drawing to scale is doing a drawing that's scaled its actual size is scaled proportionately to fit on a piece of paper. So obviously, we're not going to do a full size or full scale drawing of this cabinet, which is basically 48 by 8 by 96 inches tall. We're not going to do that drawing in full scale. And there are some drawings that you do want to do in full scale or even half scale. But most drawings you need to scale down to get it on a piece of paper because things are bigger. So today I'm hoping to get us through drawing a cabinet that's here in the shop that we'll sketch in dimension and then draw to scale. Then we'll take a break and then we're just going to do a simple floor plan of this room showing the windows and the door. So you can get an idea of drawing rooms in larger areas to scale. But in the meantime, what I want you to know about drawing to scale, when you're drawing cabinetry, doors, openings, windows, but right now, let's just say a cabinet. You want to build a cabinet. And in this case, let's say you want to duplicate the cabinet that's in the corner of this shop. So the first thing you're going to do before you draw that to scale is you're going to make a sketch of it and you're going to dimension the sketch. So a dimensioned sketch, this is a dimensioned sketch. And it's the same thing as this. It's a sketch. It's not to scale. But it shows the cabinet. Now let me show you the cabinet. So here's the cabinet. Everybody see the cabinet?
Yeah.
2 banks of 4 drawers below. It's got panel finished ends, which we're not showing on our sketch, or we may not put them on our drawing. It's got an 1.5 inch top. It's got a face frame and doors hanging over it, but we're not going to show the doors for now. 17 deep and 24 deep on the base, but that's the cabinet. We're going to sketch it and dimension it. Now, you don't have to sketch and dimension it because I've already done that. What I do want to show you are the tools of the trade. So let's just say, let's just do a for instance here. Let's say, for instance, you come to someone's house and they say, hey, I really like this cabinet, this exact cabinet, and I would like it duplicated in another room. Same cabinet. That's an easy one, no brainer, right? You don't really have to make anything up or invent anything or make things really work other than make sure you got the space to put this cabinet, you know, wall to wall and ceiling height, etc., which could be a problem because it's 8 feet tall, but let's say you have 10-foot ceilings. So then all you need to do is start out with a sketch that you're going to dimension. And then based on that sketch that's dimensioned, then you can lay it out to scale. So I'm encouraging you, do not take the time when you're drawing something for someone, especially on site, to do it to scale. Make a sketch and dimension it, and then sit down somewhere with your drafting tools and draw it to scale. Now, in terms of drafting tools, what everybody has today, and what we're going to use today, is everybody's got a 1/4-inch graph pad, 1/4-inch squares. Everybody's got a 7mm pencil. It doesn't have to look like that, but it's a 7mm mechanical pencil. Some kind of an eraser, vinyl, white vinyl eraser. There's a variety of shapes and sizes this comes in. I like the pencil kind, but I can't seem to find mine, but maybe I will. A architectural triangle, a drafting triangle, either 45 or 30/60. Scale rule. Architectural 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 scale rules say architect. Can everybody read that? Architect?
Yeah.
Architect, okay. See that scale rule? Besides one being black and one being white, do you see the difference? This says engineer. That says architect. An architectural scale rule is what we use to draw a scale. We don't use an engineering scale. So they look a lot alike until you start really looking at them. An engineering scale, as an architect scale, is going to have regular inches, 0 through 12. But an architectural scale is going to give you scale in 3/16, 3/32, half, 1/8, 1/4, 1.5, 3, 3/4, and 3/8. Those are the standard scales for drafting that we all use. And most floor plans and larger plans are drawn in 1/4 scale or 1/8 scale, sometimes even smaller scales if it's a bigger plan. And then most details are drawn in anywhere from half, 3/8, half, 3/4, 1 inch. So a rule of thumb for everybody is when you're making a drawing, you want the largest scale that you can get to fit on the page. So you need to plan your drawing out so it fits on the page in the largest scale you can do it in. So since we have, if we look at this dimension sketch, can you see the height of this cabinet, which is that cabinet? Can you see the height of it? Can somebody tell me the height of this cabinet?
96 inches.
Exactly. Okay, how many feet is that? How many feet is it?
8 feet.
Okay, there you go, 8 feet. So it's 8 feet tall, so it's fairly tall. So 1 inch scale for drawing a cabinet is a great scale to use. Really, really great scale to use. And, but you know what, I digress. I'm gonna get right back to that. But before I do, in showing you the drafting triangles, the 1/4-inch graph pad, the scale rules, the pencil and stuff, I want to show you what I carry around and work out of. I work out of this clipboard. I carry around this clipboard and I work out of this clipboard. And this clipboard, besides carrying 1/4-inch graph paper, including some I had made up when I had another company, you know, that has my company logo on it, which I did and submitted a heck of a lot of drawings. And I've got vellum to do overlays. So that's very thin paper. that I can do an overlay, and it's also gridded, so I have lines to follow. And by the way, the reason why I use 1/4-inch graph paper is so I have perpendicular and parallel lines to follow, since I'm not using a drafting setup. And I do have a portable drafting setup that I maybe will bring in and show you. I didn't even think about it. But so I have lines to follow, and I know I can go square, and I know I can go parallel based on my pad. But I also have, can you see down in there?
A little bit.
I got more triangles. I have an erasing shield. Like I said, these are cheap. If you can imagine, you know, you got something you want to erase, something small. I've got pencils. I've got drafting templates. I've got more drafting triangles. I've got templates for drawing things in rooms. This is an 1/8-inch template for, you know, circles and urinals and toilets and refrigerators, etc., and doors and door swings and cabinets. And that's a 1/4-inch template. That's a house plan
Can you
template.
pan up a bit, Rodney?
Yeah.
The lower stuff.
Is that
Perfect.
better?
Yeah.
And these are all relatively cheap templates. Like this is, I mean, it costs like $5 or $10. This is a 1/4-inch template. This is a 1/4-inch template. These are all kinds of house stuff. So that gives you upper cabinets, lower cabinets, refrigerators, stoves, toilets, sinks, shower stalls, closets, doors, door swings, all kinds of stuff to draw floor plans. I got protractors, scale rules forever. Scale rules, and more scale rules. I've got curves, French curves, and ovals. I got another protractor, more scales, another protractor. I've got an adjustable curve. I can make that thing do what I want it to. I've got a compass, which is also a scribe. That's why I've bent that, because I can use it as a scribe. And I'll be telling you a lot about scribes later when we get more into our finish work. I've got lettering templates for drawings. I've got still more protractors, and yet still more protractors, and then again another protractor. So what is it with me and protractors? And then a double protractor, circle, more compasses. Still trying to find my damn, I don't know what I've done with it. Okay. And so, and then this is also a scale rule, believe it or not. And then these are my favorite erasers. They look like pencils, and you can, they have an eraser you can feed. This one's almost done, but you can feed it, and it's a small tip, so you can erase small stuff. And if you're using a erasing shield, you can really get in there and erase small stuff. Okay. Okay, enough of that mess. Oh, and more curves, drawing curves. Calculators. All right, now. So, has everybody got their paper, architectural rule, pencil, and drafting triangles? Cool. Okay, so some people made it since the beginning. So Eric, I see you showed up. Good. Eric Mendez. How about Victor? Did you show up, Victor? Victor Gallegos? You did, didn't you? Victor? Yeah, good. You're here. How about Enrique Gregorio? Did you come? Enrique? Okay, how about Arthur? Are you here? Vinny? Braun? No. Okay. Okay, so everybody's got their pads.
Hey, Rod,
Yeah.
did you mention my name?
Eric?
Yeah.
I got you, bud.
Okay, thank you.
Yeah, you came late, but I got you.
Thank you.
Eric Garcia Mendez, yes. Okay, so I got my dimension sketch. And from my dimension sketch, I got to figure out. So I'm going to put 3 drawings on this guy. And these are the 3 I'm going to put. I'm going to put a plan view. which is that one. That's looking down on it. Pardon me? Yeah, you know, if I get this right here. So what, can you see that? Okay. So on this page, I'm going to do a plan view, looking down.
Hey, Alec, can you mute yourself?
Oh, okay.
Thanks, man.
I'm going to do a elevation view, which is front on, and then I'm going to do a side view. And it's important where these guys are on the page, so you can continue lines and you don't have to measure but once in a couple of instances. So it's got to fit on the page, right? And so I know we got to get 8 foot on the page, and 8 foot plus we got to get this 2 foot on the page. So I've got to get at least 10 foot with some space on the page. And if I take, because I like 1 inch, and so remember, the larger the scale, the better. The larger the scale, the more detail you can show, especially in a cabinet drawing or a detailed drawing of, say you're doing a window trim or door trim or something. But in this case, it's cabinet. So I would love to use 1 inch scale, but if I look at my 1 inch scale and put it down here, I got an 8 foot tall cabinet and I got a 2 foot deep cabinet. They're going to have to go on the same line with some space in between. So that's 10 feet. And so there's 0 and there's 10. So it's off the page. So that won't work. Okay. So then I'm going to go to the next scale down from that, and that's going to be a 3/4 inch scale. And the 3/4 inch scale, it looks like I can do 10 feet with a little bit in between. So let's do this the 3/4 scale. Now, 3/4 scale. There's 0. That's 1 foot, 2 foot, 3 foot, 4 foot, 5 foot, 6 foot, 7 foot, 8 foot, 9 foot, 10 foot, 11 foot, 12, 13, 14, right? Those are the feet. Those represent feet in 3/4 scale. So 3/4 of an inch equals 1 foot. And then in inches, all your inch scales are on this part or the beginning part of your scale. So where it says 3/4 right here, those bunch of hash marks are inches. And in 3/4 scale, that first tick mark is at 3 inches. The second one is 6 inches. The third one is 9 inches. And then in between is a 1/2 inch 1, a 1/2 inch 2, a 1/2 inch 3. So it's broke up in 1/2 inches. So you can get 1/2 inch out of this scale, which is pretty detailed for a drawing like this and also hard to see. But you can do it. So it looks like we can use 3/4 because if I put 10 on here, there, and there, it fits, and there's a little bit of room in between. So that means we're going to, and when you do a drawing, start out with something really simple, like let's name the drawing. So we're going to name it CT114 Shop Cab. Let's date it, 9/17/20. And instead of job number, we're going to make that scale. The scale is 3/4 inch equals 1 foot. See that? Can you see my pad?
Kind of.
Okay. So I think it's important to title your drawings, get the date on there, get the scale on there, and some kind of a title. Right? So let's start out with the first lines we're going to do, and we're going to move things over because I want to get the room to get 4 feet, some space for dimensioning, and then 2 feet. So I got to get 6 foot this way. So if I look at the page, I got 6 foot, but I'm going to start over here. I'm going to start about this close, right there. And the first thing I'm going to do up here, just two squares away, is I'm going to make a tick mark from the 0 and a tick mark on the 4. So all right, I'm just going to make little tick marks. See that? And then I'm going to take my drafting triangle and I'm going to draw my first line. My 4 foot back of the cabinet right there. That's a 4 foot line. And I did a tick mark. I started with 0 with the tick mark and at 4. I could just as easily have started at 2 and gone to 6, or start at 6 and gone to 10. You follow me? Just want a 4-foot line. So that line, that first line I just drew, is a 4-foot line. 4 foot, right? Now I'm going to draw the depth line, which is, if I look at my sketch, it's 24 inches deep, 48 wide, which I just drew that line. I'm going to draw this one 24. So I'm going to take my scale rule, and I'm going to go 0 and make a tick mark at 2. And I'm going to draw that. And I'm going to draw the other one. And so I'm going to draw my rectangle, which is a down view of my 2 base cabinet boxes. That rectangle is 4 foot by 2 foot and 3/4 scale. And that's a down view of those 2 boxes, the bases, right? And then that upper sits on top of them. But that base cabinet is 2 boxes for what it's worth, which is not worth much right now. Right now, let's just keep going with what we're doing. So we got a down view of the 2 base cabinets, and then I think I'll go ahead, take my scale rule, go 2, so the middle of it, right? I think I'll make some dotted lines. Dotted line right down the center, and then I'm gonna come in my hash marks here, my little tick marks that are inches, and I'm gonna make marks that are approximately, because they're so small, 3/4 and 3/4, and I'm gonna make a dotted line. So this is telling me that this is 2 boxes, and this is pretty much just for me. You don't need to draw that, but if you want to, do it. Dotted line means it's a hidden line. So these 7mm solid lines are the lines of the cabinet, and the dotted line, anytime you have a dotted line, it's hidden. It's not necessarily seen, it's behind something, okay? So now let's go ahead and draw the upper cabinet. And since this isn't an upper cabinet that's hanging on the wall above a lower cabinet, which would be shown by a broken line, it's going to be shown by a solid line too, and it's 17 inches deep. So to get to 17, I'm going to use the 1, which is 12 inches, right? And the 5, which is two tiny tick marks that side of the 6. So 0, 1, 2, 3, 4, 5. And 1 is 1 foot 5, which is 17 inches. And I'm going to put that on the 5 right there, make a mark there, and then go solid line. And I'll go ahead and draw the returns just for the hell of it, even though they follow exactly. But that solid line right there is 17 inches. And that 17 inches, does this have 3/4 scale? Yeah, that 17 inches is 1 plus 5 inches on the 1 through 12 scale, the small part of the scale, right? A lot of people have trouble with that. The inches are in the small part of the scale. 0, 1, 2, 3, 4, 5, 6, 7, 8, 9, 10, 11, and 12. Those are the 12 inches, right? So you take whatever dimension you want to put on there, get the feet and the inches, go to the feet, and then do the inches on the left side. So right now, without dimensioning this, I've got the rectangle, the 2 rectangles that are my 2 foot deep by 4 foot wide base box, and then my 17 inches deep by 4 foot wide upper cabinet that drops down to it. So with those guys there, I don't really need to draw anything else. I can go ahead and do my elevation. And the reason why we line these things up on the parts of the page that we do is because I don't want to put an elevation and start it like right here. I want the elevation to follow my 4 foot lines because it's 4 foot. So I'm going to come up here and go 4 foot across. Exact same. I don't have to measure anything, right? I'm going exactly the same distance I was when I first drew that 4 foot line. And then I'm going to come here. Oh, crap. Okay. I called it a little tight. That's okay. I won't have a lot of room for the crown molding. But I'm going to draw my 4 foot line there. Just one box away. And then I'm going to put this on the 0, make a mark on the 8, tick mark on the 0, tick mark on the 8, and I'm going to go ahead and draw that whole side. And then same thing, I don't have to measure that because it's going to the exact same place, just 4 feet over. And then I'm going to connect the dots at the bottom. So now I have a giant rectangle. Now I have a giant rectangle that, I'm going to focus on my speaker view, which should be me. John, I'm going to mute you. Okay, speaker view, speaker. I don't want a gallery view. I want me, speaker. Come on, me. Where's Rod at? I should be showing. Damn it. Can you guys, is this, if you put on speaker view, do you see a bigger picture of this? You should be able to. Okay, so now I've got the elevation, which is a front view, right? So this view, the top view, is as if you were above the cabinet looking down. The next view on down, which you've carried those lines on down, that's the face-on view, as if you were standing in front of the cabinet looking right at it. Now let's just add a few more lines. The kick, the toe kick, the loose toe kick that started out loose that it sits on, I go to 3/4 scale. It's 4.5 inches tall. I know that because my sketch tells me. I dimensioned it. It's 4.5. And I also, oh yeah, look at that, 4.5. I'll be darned. Okay, I was right. My kids used to call me right again, Rodney. And it wasn't meant as a compliment. Okay, here we go. I'm going to come up 4.5, right? 0 to 4.5 tick marks. And I'm going to draw all the way across the toe kick. And you see how these parallel lines work? So I actually got a little bit out of parallel. This white vinyl eraser allows me to just erase that and get back right on that line and get it totally parallel because I've got these lines to follow. Okay, so there's my 4.5 inch kick. Now I'm going to come from the bottom again, and I'm going to put it on 3. Right there, 3. So I'm going to go put it on 3 and go to 0, make a little tick mark, and I'm going to go all the way across. Okay, now I have a face-on view of my 3-foot tall base cabinet. While I'm here, I'm going to come down 1.5 inch in my inch scale. I'm going to come down 1.5 inch, make a tick mark, and I'm going to draw a parallel line underneath that top of that 36-inch cabinet and show the 1.5 inch top. See that 1.5 inch top? On the cabinet itself, okay. Okay. Okay, we're looking good. Let's throw a few more lines on here. So we know this is 2 cabinets, the base cabinet. We'll work on that right now. So let's go ahead and split it in half. We don't have to measure because we have already split it in half up above, up here. So we just take our drafting triangle, put it on so it's touching above on that 2-foot line, and then bring that 2-foot line right down through there. We don't want to bring it down through our kick because it doesn't go through our kick. It's the 2 boxes set on the kick. So this is a box, that's a box, that's a continuous kick 4 feet all the way across. It's 36 inches tall with an 1.5 inch top. So far, so good, right? Okay, now we'll go ahead and draw in the lines. Well, I take it back. Let's go ahead and draw, let's get the broad brush strokes for our side view. So we're going to come over, it doesn't really matter. Let's come over 1, 2, 3, 4, 5 1/4 inch squares.
Hey, Rod, 1 second. 36 to the top of counter.
Correct.
Okay.
Yeah, 36 to the top. And again, I should have this up somewhere for you because I have this to refer to, even though I've designed and built that cabinet, so it's in my brain too. But yes, 36 inches to the top. Okay. Now we're going to draw the side view in broad brush strokes, and we won't have to do much measuring. We'll do a little bit of measuring. And the beauty of this 1/4 inch graph pad is ultimately, in the kind of numbers we're talking about, you don't even really have to measure. Watch. So first thing I'm going to do in my side view, I'm going to come over here about 5, and I'm going to draw exactly the same height, a line, the same height as my cabinet, is the height of my cabinet, right, in elevation. That line goes from the very bottom of the toe kick to the very top of the cabinet. That's the back of the cabinet. I don't have to measure anything. I already have. Now I want to go over to my base cabinet. Well, first I want to come up 4.5 inches. So I've already got that line. So I'm going to put my scale on that line, and I'm going to draw over 2 foot deep, right? 2 foot deep and 3/4 is 6 of these guys. 3/4 scale. 0 at the back to the 2. 2 foot deep. I counted 6 squares. Will somebody explain to me what I was doing when I counted 6 squares? Somebody, anybody? Okay. How many 1/4-inch squares?
Isn't that 2 feet?
That's exactly right, Donna. That's exactly right. Because in 3/4 scale, 3 1/4-inch squares is 1 foot. So twice that, 6 1/4-inch squares would be 2 feet. So we got your 2 feet here. And let's go ahead and go right here, and we'll draw this top. Actually, the top projects out. I'm going to go ahead and project it out a little bit. And we can finish it off in a minute. And remember, I'm drawing from my kick. So there's my 2 foot box. Now I didn't draw all the way down because the kick is recessed 2 inches. So I'm going to take my 3/4 scale, find the 2-inch tick mark, make a little mark, go down, make that vertical, come across the bottom. Okay, so I've just drawn my toe kick and the side view of my box. These are going to overhang, well, they're going to overhang about 1/2 inch past the drawer front. So that's about 1 1/4 overhang. I'm going to make that top right there. And then at 17 inches is the depth of my upper bookcase box. It drops down on it. So I'm going to take my 3/4 scale. 17 inches is 5 plus 1 foot. You notice I'm just using tick marks. I'm not drawing with my scale rule. Scale rule is meant to measure drafting triangles. Measure, put tick marks, connect the tick marks with the drafting triangle. Okay, so now I've got a side view, and it's a little bit out of parallel. I don't like that. So see, these white vinyl erasers erase that 7mm pencil really well. Really, really well. So I'm going to draw that line. Yeah, I'm happy with that. That's parallel. So now I've got my 17-inch deep base cabinet side view, and I've just brought the lines over. You know, the measurements, I had to take a few measurements, but then I was able to just carry lines over. So I pretty much have drawn the basics of this. I haven't dimensioned anything yet. I haven't, put the dimensions on the drawing. But let's go ahead and draw that upper cabinet. Let's draw the face frame. So, 2 kinds of cabinets. 2 basic kinds of cabinets. Frameless and face frame. The frameless cabinets are what we built in the shop. Euro style, 32mm, frameless, no face frame. Doors hang off the boxes. Or a face frame cabinet, which has a face frame that hangs on the box, and then the doors or whatever hangs off that. So typical bookcases, like, okay, lower cabinet, drawer bank in this case, edge banded, casework, no face frame, frameless, just 2mm reveals. Upper cabinet is more of a bookcase cabinet with a face frame. The doors hang off this face frame, but face frame. And a face frame is consisted of stiles and rails. Which members of the stiles Anybody?
The vertical ones?
There you go. And how about the rails? Horizontal, exactly. Stiles are vertical. Rails are horizontal. All right, so let's go ahead. I happen to know that, and I'm going to go ahead and double check, but I'm sure they are. I built these myself. All 1.5 inches. I think I did 2 inches above. Yes, I did. Okay. So let's just draw some stiles and rails on this thing. So start with the vertical members, the stiles. These always run long. Your outside stiles run long. So put it on the 0 on that right there. Make a mark at the 1.5. Over here, 1.5 to 0. And let's draw the stiles of the face frame upper cabinet. There's the right stile. There's the left stile. We're going to make this top rail 2 inches because I want to cover 1/2 inch of it with the crown molding when we do finish it with a crown. So in 3/4 scale, I'm going to draw that at 2 inches. Make a tick mark. Come across. That top rail goes all the way across. And then your mid stile, one that's going right here, is going right dead in the middle. And that guy, I'm going to split it 3/4 in the middle and do 1.5 inches mid stile. And I'll bring that mid stile from the top rail down to the top. Okay. So this is pretty much the basis of the cabinet. Now let's go ahead and we'll go ahead and flesh this out a little bit. We'll put the drawers in the sketch. Oh wait, I did that on that too. Okay. In the sketch, I sketched the drawers. I dimensioned them, right? Sketch and dimension, sketch and dimension. So the drawers are 6, 6, 6, and 11.5. And that doesn't take into account the reveals between them, and you won't really need to at this point in this kind of a drawing. So 3/4 scale, we're going to go 6 inches, 6 inches, 6 inches, and then what's left is basically 11.5. And that's what's left, which means we've drawn our scale drawing, right? So, you know, you see how I just checked myself? If I hadn't done my scale drawing right, that wouldn't have worked out. But because I did do my scale drawing right, so if you think about it, what's 3 times 6?
9.
18.
Okay, so that base cabinet is 36 inches tall, right? And we've got 3 6-inch drawers, so that's 18. We've got one 11.5 inch drawer. We've got a 4.5 inch kick. We have a 1.5 inch top. So what's that add up to? 6, 24. That adds up to 35.5. And that 1/2 inch that's missing between the 36 and the floor, that's in the 1, 2, 3 reveals. Those 1, 2, 3, actually 4 reveals. Those 4 1/8 inch reveals, 2 millimeter, 3 millimeters 1/8 inch, those reveals add up to 1/2 inch, and that's where that plus the 1/2 inch of reveals makes a 36 inch top. So you just checked yourself. So you know your math is working. So let's draw a few more things on this. Okay. So I made my little tick marks at 6 inches. Now I'm going to go ahead and draw the drawer heads on there. And then that leaves that 11.5. And I can go ahead and draw in drawer pulls if I want to or whatever. You know, there's a lot of things you can do to flesh this thing out. Draw in a crown molding. We can draw on the shelves. Let's go ahead and draw in the shelves. I like about 1 inch spacing. So, I mean 1 foot spacing. So I'm going to just go like that. And actually, since we're going to actually draw this cabinet, this cabinet here, let's see where this shelf comes to. I think these doors, it's a 5-foot top. Yeah, so these are 46.5 inches of 46.5 inches of door. So I'll put that bottom shelf at the bottom of 46.5. So 46.5 is 3 foot 10.5 inches. So I'm going to find 3 foot right there. And I'm going to come up here to the inch part and go 1.5 past the 9. Coming down from the top, from the, actually those have a 1/2 inch overlay. So what did I say that was, 46.5? Yeah, we're going to call it 46 because the doors overlay. So at 46, that's 3 foot 10. So I got it on the 10 inches, making a mark at the 3. I'm going to go like that. And that's going to be the bottom of the shelf edge banding. That bottom shelf that my doors are going to close against. And I'm going to go ahead and do a tick at 1.25 inches, or 1.5 inches rather, because that's the thickness that the shelf edge banding is. All right, so I just drew in the bottom shelf. Exactly the scale, the way it is showing right there. So I'll go ahead and draw in those other shelves just for the heck of it. I'm going to draw them pretty light so they don't get in the way of my door when we do draw the doors. But I'm just drawing the shelves that I laid out in 1 foot increments with an 1.5 inch edge band, and it's going to look like this. And you guys are also doing a drawing that's going to look exactly like this too. This drawing, by the way, you guys are all doing this drawing. And this drawing is going to be handed in. Now, I don't expect you to finish it tonight. I'm not all that concerned, but it would be better if you did. And what we'll do, yeah, we'll keep going. We'll dimension it. We'll draw in the crown. We'll draw in the crown, we'll dimension it. And we'll go ahead and draw in the doors too. And then you get a really good look at it. So that crown, the first way I'm going to draw that crown, because I like the look of the crown, and then try to picture this drawing doing a couple of things. One is, it's given you all the dimensions that you need to rebuild this cabinet. So you can cut list off of it, right? You're going to build it in another room. It's also given you something for you to see, but almost more importantly than that, for your customer to see. So they can see what they're buying in scale. So it's actually going to look like this. You can draw it so it really looks like this. You can draw in the drawer pulls, the whole cha-cha. So let's go ahead and draw in the crown molding. That crown molding is it's a 3.5 inch crown. I think it comes up 2 5/8, but for purposes of this argument, I'm just going to make a in 3/4 scale. I'm going to come down 1/2 inch onto the top of my top rail and put a little tick mark at 3 inches, and I'm going to run it wild, which means I'm going to run it past the sides. It actually runs by 2 inches because it extends out 2 inches. And then I'm just going to hand draw the crown. Just a kind of a classic crown.
How high did you say it was off
3
the
inches
top?
tall and 2 inches out on the sides. And see, once I draw that, I don't have to dimension it. I can come over here and just continue it. And then draw another line there. And another line there. So you see the crown molding on that? You see the crown molding I just drew?
Yeah.
No, hold on. I don't see it.
Yeah, you do. You're not looking.
No, not
Right
anymore.
there. Crown molding. See that? See that little molding I drew on top? And the molding I drew on top there? 3 inches high, 2 inches out. It's this crown molding right there. That's a colonial crown. That's a 3.5 inch colonial crown, I think. Might be 4.5 inch. No, that's a 4.5 inch colonial crown. So it's 4.5 inch this way, but it's 3 inches on the vertical and 2 inches out. That crown. It's a pretty standard crown. It's I like it. I've used it a lot. Matter of fact, I've used it so much I don't like it anymore. I really don't like it as much as I used to anyway. Cabinet in the background. Dimensions sketch. Dimensions on the board, right? That cabinet sketched and dimensioned. Now, back to our scale drawing, which is in scale, just as though it were real. Let's go ahead and draw the doors, okay? So the doors have stiles and rails, and they are I'm gonna go measure. I'll go measure since it's right here. Pretty sure they're 2.5. Yep, 2.5 and 2.5. Yep, 2.5 stiles and rails, and that is right dead in the middle, that mid rail. So I'm going to make some tick marks on my 3/4 inches at. Well, here's the funny thing though. This isn't all that accurate. This isn't really that accurate. And the reasons I'm saying that is because those doors overlay the face frame 1/2 inch. So just for purposes of this drawing, I'm going to draw that as though they were inset or hanging inside the face frame, when really they overlay the face frame. So if I was drawing this really being specific, I would have drawn that face frame inside edge as dotted, because it would be hidden by the doors. But it's a solid line now, and this is how I had envisioned this cabinet being made anyway. It's just like this, and then at some point I decided to make doors. I decided to do a door clinic, and let's make cabinet doors. So let's just show the doors on it, because I think it looks really cool. And we'll forget for a minute that they're overlay, and we'll say that they're full inset, because I'm going to stop for just a second and show you the 3 ways doors are hung on a face frame. So if this is a cutaway, right? Cutaway of that style. It's an 1.5 inch style. We're going to draw it with the doors. We're going to draw it with the doors full inset flush. Full inset. Door style. Panel on the door, right? That's full inset flush. That's how we're going to draw it. They're actually hung full overlay. The 3/4 inch door sits outside the face frame with a 1/2 inch overlay. It overlays the face frame 1/2 inch and sits outside the face frame. And then the third way cabinet doors are hung on face frames is they're hung as a lipped door. And they have a 3/8 offset lip. So half the door hangs inside the face frame and half hangs outside the face frame. So full inset flush, full overlay, lip, or 3/8 inset. Those are the 3 ways to hang a door in a face frame. Now, let's draw those doors, because it'll really make the cabinet look good. And then we're going to take a break, and then we're going to do a simple floor plan. Time flies when you're having fun. Okay, so in drawing those doors, I'm going to make tick marks at 2.5, 2.5, 2.5, and 2.5. So I'll draw the stiles first, because the stiles always run long. They always run through. Stiles run long. Oops. Shit. So this is where an erasing template comes in. I didn't mean to draw that up past my face frame, so I'm going to put this erasing template on it, or erasing shield on it. I'm going to erase it. I'm going to draw this style. gonna draw the, oh, and it's 2 doors, I forgot. It's 2 doors. Yeah. It's 2 doors. So I gotta come over here and do my 2.5. I gotta come over here and do my 2.5. That face frame should be shown as a dotted line. It's not, but we're gonna go ahead and draw these doors. Top rail, bottom rail, and then mid rail. The shelves should be shown as dotted lines too. So I want a mid rail right in the middle of those doors, the height of the doors, right? So if I go ahead and measure them to scale on my drawing, those doors measure 3'9". Okay, 3'9" is 45 inches. So half of that's 22.5. So I'll come down 1 foot, 10.5. That's center. I'm going to put the center of a 2.5 inch rail on there. And I'm going to go ahead and draw the rail. And so there's a few confusing lines here, just because the face frame is behind, it's not drawn. The face frame is not drawn as a dotted line, but there's that cabinet right there in the scale drawing. Now the last thing you're going to want to do is dimension it. So I won't dimension the whole thing, but just to show you the way I dimensioned it, like we could come up here and do a hash mark and a hash mark. And then we do a line like that. There's a space in the middle, tick, tick, 48 inches. See that? That's dimension now. The height of this baby, without the crown molding, let's go like this. And we'll go, leave a space, hash mark, 96 inches. Those are the basics, right? And then we can go ahead and do this inside. Let's just draw 24 inches. And we'll go from there to there. We'll do this one 17 inches. From there to there. We like this one at 36. Let's do that. 36. Let's do this 4.5 right here for the toe kick. 4.5. And then what's left of the top, 60 inches. We'll continue that line up to our 60 and then all the way to the top line with another tick mark. And now we've pretty much got a lot of the good, we haven't done the drawer dimensions. A good way to do those would be like this. You can see that. And we could go 6, 6, 6, 11.5. And then put in our marks, show what it is we're measuring, and then the little hash marks that stop where we're measuring. Everybody seeing that? I'll do something with this. I'll get this up somehow.
I think you're about 20 steps ahead of me at this point.
Yeah, I'm sure I am. I'm sure I am. So let's back up, and I'll tell you what. Think of some questions you have for me. I'm going to leave this drawing right here. It's 18 after 7. We're going to take a break until 7:30. So you can take a look at the drawing. Write down any questions you might have and start asking them at 7:30. Okay? There's our sketch. If you can see that. Okay. I'll see you back here at 7:30, everybody. Okay? Okay, good. Oh, man. 7:30, God, just out of it. Almost fell asleep. Sorry, guys. Okay, it's time, isn't it? No, 35, 40 seconds. I'm sure there's a few questions. Sure there's a few. Why is John Sesser on speaker view? What the hell? John Sesser, how is that possible?
Are you talking about me?
Yeah, I'm gonna mute you and see if I can get myself on speaker view so I can. No, you come up on speaker view. What the hell? That's so weird. I should see myself on speaker view, but I don't. So okay.
Sometimes whoever logged in first is permanently, I've had this issue too. Let me leave and rejoin real quick, see if that fixes it.
Okay. Okay, come back, people. So has everybody been drawing, I hope? Everybody's been drawing? Okay, Noel, Jose, Brandon, James, Victor.
No, I
James,
haven't. I don't have the graph paper.
Oh, well, who said that? Noel?
Yeah.
Dude, what happened?
Uh,
You had a week to get this stuff. What happened? Did you go on vacation or did you forget? What happened?
no, yeah, I just forgot.
You need to borrow $10?
No.
Okay, so you got to get it. Who else doesn't have graph paper and all the stuff I asked you to get? Everybody but you know? No. So you're gonna have it by next week?
Yeah.
Good. It's like you won't spend $20 on it. So actually 10 wouldn't do it. You're gonna need to spend 20, but get it, okay? And that way you can draw something to scale. I want to see you guys draw something to scale. So has anybody drawn anything? And if you have, could you show me what you got? Okay, looks like John's got a box with doors and look at a nice side view. Donna, you got anything?
I had a really hard time keeping up with you and trying to read the ruler accurately.
I have a box.
What's that, Donna?
I said I have a box, but I was taking notes as you were talking.
Okay, good. Well, you've got the that's. Does anybody have trouble with the concept? I mean, of finding the inches and all that stuff, you know, on the scale rule? Because I know sometimes guys and gals get hung up on just able to use the scale rule. So does everybody know how to use it? In other words, when I say draw a line 17 inches, do you know how to do that? Do you know how to find 17 inches in 3/4 scale? Yeah, everybody knows how to do that? Jose, do you know how to do that? Do you know how to draw, if I ask you to draw a 17-inch line in 3/4 scale, could you do it? Yes?
Yeah.
Okay, good. Austin? Could you do it?
Yes. Yeah, I think I get it.
Donna, could you do it?
Yeah, because of that trick that you showed. Because there's 12 inches in a foot.
Yeah, and every scale is going to have that every scale where it says 3/4 right there, all the little tick marks in front of it, that's how they divvy up inches. So you see that 3/4 is able to divvy up in 1/2 inches because it's a pretty good scale. But if you come down here a quarter scale is barely inches. I mean, they're pretty small. In other words, it's pretty hard to see, you know, anything but like 4 in quarter scale, maybe 6 inches or 3 inches. And then an 1/8 scale, inches in 1/8 scale. I don't even know if that's focusing on it, but it's pretty small. It's that little bit right there. So, but then you get into things like 3-inch scale. And in a 3-inch scale, I mean, that's 3 inches. That's an inch. It breaks up an inch into, it breaks it up into eighths. So you can actually show eighths of an inch in 3-inch scale. So you can get, so you do your more detailed drawings in larger scales. So you can draw more detailed things. And what the whole idea of drawing to scale is you work out all kinds of things in your drawing. before you ever get to building it or selling it or proposing it or any of that stuff, what you get to do is you get to build it on paper. And so in doing that, you can work out all kinds of things depending upon what your needs are. So let's say your needs are to fit a particular space. Well, you can draw that space. In other words, if it's a niche cabinet, if it goes in a niche or a niche, depending on who's saying it, that is wall to wall somewhere, then you've got a given and you can draw that. And then you can draw the stuff that fits inside of it. But it gives you, it allows you to build it on paper, which allows you to cut list it and conceptualize the parts a lot easier than just like, oh, gee, that part should be, trying to keep it in your mind. But it also gives you a look of what it's going to look like. It gives you perspective and a view of what it looks like. And if you really draw to scale, if you draw well to scale, you get a real view. You get an actual view. So that, you know, without drawing in the drawer pulls and, you know, getting rid of some of these lines for the face frame because the door overlays them. But that drawing is in scale and it perfectly reflects that cabinet. So since I drew it first, I knew it was going to look like, and it was fair, and I liked the proportions. And it also allowed me, since
We lost video. I don't know if you pulled the camera.
Did he ditch out on class?
I think he yanked the camera cord out of the computer. Or he knocked it with the computer. I don't know. It seems like we'd still hear him without the camera, right?
Yeah. Yeah, maybe he smacked the computer.
Oh, there you go.
Oh, no.
It just, can you guys, is my audio up?
Yeah, you're back.
I'm back live.
Yep.
Okay, I was trying to show you that cabinet, but I think you guys and gal got the idea. That cabinet over there. Is that cabinet. And then there's a whole bunch of stuff that I've done to that cabinet that I can tell you about later. I may not even tell you about it until next year in 115 if you take it, but I'm sure you've got some questions. Who's got questions for me on this drawing so far? Because what I'd like you to do, I'll finish that. I'll just flesh it out just a tiny bit, and I'll scan it, and I'll get it on the module for this week. So you'll be able to go to Canvas to week 4 module and click on it and bring up that drawing. And I'll also scan the sketch and dimension one too. So you'll have those for reference. But I don't even care if you just copy it and trace it, but I would like that drawing from you, that same drawing. And just a couple things to remember in drawing. Try to remember that when you draw something, when you put something to paper, that you got to anticipate you're doing it for not just you. So try to envision drawing for somebody else, drawing for you, but with the thought that someone else is going to look at your drawing, view your drawing, interpret your drawing, try to figure out your drawing, and then try to execute your drawing. And I don't mean kill it. Build it. So think about that. So, it all fits on a page. It's easy to read. It's legible. The lines are straight. And we just whipped this out. I mean, this didn't take very long, and it wouldn't take long to finish. And you have a drawing. I mean, if you could sell this cabinet with this drawing. You could do a couple of things. Based on the drawing, you can cut list it. So you can find out the materials that go in it and figure out what the materials are and what you might need, and then go price the materials so you know how much the materials cost you. And then as you break it down in its component parts, it's 3 cabinets. It's 2 base cabinets ganged together, 2 banks. You have a question? Did I hear a question? Two banks of drawers ganged together, and then it's 1 upper cabinet on top. So it's really 3 cabinets and a loose toe kick. I like loose toe kicks, right?
Yeah.
Yeah, and this one's going to get a finished end. So typically, we build our cabinets with unfinished ends. And I got to explain that. And I meant to bring that cabinet that I built on the video, on the YouTube video, and I forgot to bring it. But finished ends, the best way to do a finished end versus an unfinished end. So an unfinished end goes to the wall. You don't see it, right? Goes to the wall. You don't see it. It's an unfinished end. You don't have to even think about it because it's unfinished. It's buried. And that requires a wall scribe, and that's another something. But right now I want to show you what a finished end is. So if you look at a wall, and you got a cabinet run that ends in this last box looking down on your wall. So you got a wall, and you got a bunch of cabinets ganged together, right? You got a B4D, bank of 4 drawers. You got a 1 door, 1 drawer. You got a sink base, dishwasher opening. Let's say this is anchored by a tray cabinet. A big old tray cabinet with a drawer above. Tray with drawer. It ends the run. So unfinished end, unfinished end, unfinished end, unfinished end. This is the cabinet next to this. So unfinished end. This you would build with an unfinished end, but you do an applied finished end. So finished ends can be integral or part of the cabinet, just like kicks can be. But I like kicks loose and separate, just like I like finished ends separate and loose. So it's an unfinished end until you add a finished end. And you add your finished end to be out 7/8 of an inch, so it indexes with the face of your doors and drawers. Just like, God, I hope this thing stays together. Just like this. Just like that. Now that is an applied finished end. This is the other one that goes on the other side, but this finished end was separate from the cabinet. I just screwed it from the inside of the cabinet to the inside of the finished end to hold it on and scribed it to the wall on that side. And it finishes the end, and it's flush with the drawer faces. So you get that nice flush look. And I made this out of scrap white oak on the shaper. These finished ends, that's why they're so kind of nasty looking. But I'm sorry, I thought I heard a question.
Yeah, so I guess the benefit of this is we can build all of our cabinets the same.
That's exactly it. So if you remember what I was talking about with the in the cabinet making and the cabinet shop thing, it's about systems. It's always about systems. If you can develop systems to build things, so cabinets for one thing, closets, doors, windows, trim, systems where this is how you do it. So that's not to say like flipping to say wainscotings or door casings. It just isn't just one way to do it, but whichever way you do it, you've got a system of how to do it. how to cut the legs, how to lay out and cut the stock that you're using and get it spread and put it up one way so you don't get confused. In cabinet making, you're just building the same box over and over and over with variations on the theme. So kitchens are all 36 inches. That's why I made this 36 inches. It's a very standard cabinet. They finish at 36. And in a finished 36-inch tall cabinet, a really cool standard or system of cabinet making that really works, tried and true, are the numbers 30 for the box height. So you can cut a bunch of 30-inch parts and line bore them and have them stacked up, because all of your cabinets, every single one of them for the kitchen, and let's say you're doing a lot of kitchens, they're all 30 inches tall because they sit on a 4.5-inch kick, and you figure a 3/4 rough top and 3/4 finish for a 1.5-inch top. That adds up to 36 inches. That's your standard height. Now, something to remember, just to throw something into the mix. Whoever's dog that is, mute yourself. Not mine. Got to be Brandon or Jose.
It's my neighbor's dog, so.
Mute yourself, please. I have to mute you. Where was I? God damn it. Where was I? Oh, I just totally lost my train. Come on, you guys, help me. Somebody, anybody. Was anybody even listening?
System building cabinets, 30 inches, 36 overall.
I cannot remember what I was going to tell you, where I was going. And somebody asked me something about cabinet height. Oh, okay. So here's where I was. 36 inches, right? That's ideal kitchen cabinet height. Now, in virtually every house I've ever done, the cabinets were set at 36 inches in one place. And in virtually every other place in the same kitchen, they weren't 36. Why would that be? Why would that be? Same kitchen, right? Let's say one wall. Let's say it's a big wall. It's a 16-foot wall of cabinets. This wall is 16 feet long. And right here, this base cabinet is 36 inches tall. Dishwasher space, but the counter goes like that, right? Kick. Finished end, right? 36 inches tall. But here it was 36 3/4. What's up with that? The cabinets are the same. It's still a 30-inch cabinet, a 1.5-inch top, and a 4.5-inch kick. Why is this 36 and this 36 3/4? Why would that be? Anybody have an explanation for that? Donna? Yeah. James? Victor? Eric? All the people I can't see? Anybody have an explanation for it? Okay, how about people that I can see then? Anybody? Okay. It's a simple, Austin, was that you raising your hand? Okay. John?
The 36-inch counter height is the highest point in the room, the highest point on the floor, and the rest of them are adjusted level to it.
Okay. Because floors are generally not level. Floors are generally not level, but cabinets are what?
Level.
Yeah, cabinets are set level. Are there ever any times where cabinets are not set level? No, there are no times when cabinets are not set level. They're set level and level, which makes them square. So walls are rarely ever plumb and floors are rarely ever level. So you cannot go to the floor and to the wall. You have to level your cabinets independently. And as John pointed out, in a run like this, where your cabinets are 36, that's the highest part of your floor. Your floor runs downhill 3/4 of an inch. You're going to shim up that toe kick 3/4 of an inch down there because your cabinets are going to be level. Your toe kick's going to be dead level this way and out from the wall this way, which means when your cabinet's set on your loose toe kick, they're going to be what? Right? What? What are they going to be? They're going to be dead level.
Yeah.
So you set cabinets dead level. You hang doors plumb. You set windows plumb and level, plumb and level, plumb and level. The cabinets are really important. And you just take it up on the floor. You take it up in the kick. That's why we do loose kicks. That's why we do kick skins. But
What are kick skins?
really good question. I forgot to tell you guys about that when we built that cabinet. So remember we built the loose kick for that cabinet we built on the video, the YouTube video in the cabinet shop? We built a loose kick, and that kick would be a rough kick. So you come in and set rough kicks, set your cabinets, all this other stuff happens, and they get painted / finished, whatever, or maybe they're pre-finished, but the countertops get put on, all that stuff. The floor goes in, and you always have to take into account the floor, right? What you don't want to do is set a 4.5-inch kick down on a rough floor and have 1.5 inches of floating tile, bury your 4.5-inch kick, and now it becomes 3 inches. So you have to accommodate that. If you know there's 1.5 inches of finished floor, you need to fur this stuff up, this 4.5 up 1.5 inches. So your finished floor doesn't bury it. So you still have a 4.5-inch kick. And the last thing you put on, you have pre-finished kick skins. And they're the cabinet material, pre-finished in 1/4-inch material that you just slip on there and tack with a wire nailer, like a 22 gauge nail. Can't even see. But you'd have to be laying on your side looking at the underside of the cabinet to see it. So it skins the kick with the pre-finished cabinet material. Because your kicks will get beat up as your floor guys do all their things. And if you put a finished kick down, by the time when you set cabinets, by the time the house is done, you might have a real damaged kick. This way they can do whatever they want to. They can slop mud on it. You don't have to protect it. Then you just clean it up, clean any slop mortar on it, and then put your kick skins, your finished skins onto your kick. Last thing you do, that's a kick skin.
Rod, I kind of don't understand building kicks for like a long wall that's not level. Like if you have, like you were saying, like a 16-foot wall of cabinets and a part of that isn't level, like are they all separate kicks per cabinet, or are you making like
all one big kick? So in Eurostyle or frameless, the whole loose kick idea is you'd take from here and you'd probably flush with this box, because I just like a 3/4 overhang with a finished end, so if you look at it face on with a finished end, there's just a 3/4 overhang, and set that kick. This is one kick to here. So let's say this is a 2-foot and 2 18-inch cabinets. So that's 5 foot a kick right there, a 2-foot dishwasher space, and all dishwasher spaces are 2 feet. Not 2.5 inch, not 1/8 inch less. They're 24 inches dead on, unless you have an appliance spec, which, just backing up for 1 second, kitchens, since we're talking about them, and it's one of my fortes, are built around the appliances. So you need appliance specs, Windows Center, stuff like that. They're built around the appliances. But dishwashers take 24 inches, and then there's 3-foot sink base, and this is, so say this guy keeps going. So if we use 7 feet up, right? 5 foot this run, 2 foot this run, and we got a 16-foot run. Now we got another 9-foot run before this ends in a wall. So altogether, that's a 9-foot base cabinet run, right? From here to here is 9'0", 2-foot DW space, and 5 foot of cabinets. You would build a 5-foot kick and a 9-foot kick, which, you probably, since you're limited to 8-foot plywood, unless you got some 10-foot stock around, you'd probably build a 2 4.5s or 6 3 or something like that. And maybe you'd gang them together, or just butt them together, because they're going to get anchored to the floor. They're going to get anchored to the wall. The kicks, they're going to get anchored to the floor, and they're going to get anchored to the wall.
So do you shim? Sorry. Do you shim the kick to make it level, and then that gets buried by the finished floor?
It's buried by the finished floor and the kick skins.
Gotcha.
Kick
Okay.
skins bury everything, right?
No.
And so, yeah, you shim up a big fat shim. If you're going to build it up 3/4, you put a piece of 3/4 plywood under that end and then just shim in between. So you don't have, you know what I mean? So you have some support every 2 or 3 feet. So yeah, you drop that 5-foot kick when you go to install this run of base cabinets. You drop that 5-foot kick, you've laid out your dishwasher space, you drop that 9-foot kick or 6 and a 3, and you level those dead level that way and this way off the wall. And you screw them to the wall, you go through the shims, you screw them to the floor so that when you walk up there with cabinets, you're going to set them on a dead level kick. So you don't have to level your cabinets. That's done. You can just slide your cabinets around and get them ganged together. And then in Euro style, those boxes, those 5mm holes on 32mm centers, we use what we call a sex screw or a male-female screw to screw them together because the holes all line up. So you just bore through one and you're into the other one. So you put in a receiver in one cabinet side and a screw in the other through the pre-bored holes and screw those babies together. You follow me? It's called a sex screw.
Yeah, kind of.
Yeah, so I'll draw it and maybe you'll see it better if anybody else is having trouble. But in Euro-style cabinetry, in joining these boxes, right? So if you picture a 3/4 side butting up to another 3/4 side. And all of these sides, if you look at them in side view, they have a 5mm hole bore pattern of 32mm centers. 5mm diameter hole, 32mm centers on the bore pattern. And that's all for the Euro hinges and the drawer slides and all that jazz. This panel that it abuts to, that's this cabinet side, has the exact same holes and the exact same pattern, right? In it, so that you very easily run a drill bit through and it goes right into that other hole. And then from this side, you put in a receiver. It's got a round head, stops at the hole, it's threaded. From this side, you put in a round head screw that goes into that receiver. You do that here, here, and here. And you draw those two boxes together with these sex screws, male and female screws. And that's how you draw them all together. Then now you've got this 5-foot box. It's basically one box. And you can slide it around the kick till it's just right on, till it's flush here, or maybe just slightly in, an 1/8 inch in, so you're not going to impede your dishwasher. And flush here, it doesn't really matter this way, because you want it to be recessed. So when you look at that end, you want the finished end to be here. And you want your kick to be back, at least 3/4. You know, some people want more. They want 2 inches. Like if you look at the cabinets from the side, you know, your kick's back 2 inches. That's a 2-inch space. And then it's even more than that with a 7/8 door over, you know, in front of it. Almost 3 inches back. And that gives you space for that's what a toe kick is for. You know, so you can belly up to the counter and your toes have a place to go. So, I'm going to put these drawings up. You'll be able to access them through the module 4. You'll be able to click on them. Shit, I don't know. I may do it tomorrow. I probably won't. I don't know when I'll do it. I'll do it before next class. So you'll be able to click on them and use them as templates. And I would like you to draw what I draw. And I'd like you to do it yourself using mine as a guide and not try to trace it. But however you do it, I want you to draw it. And I'll also embed or be able to click on my sketching and dimensioning. And then next week, we're going to continue the scale drawing just a little bit. And Noel, you're going to have everything you need, right? Noel, and if you don't, or if you're having trouble, you're going to get in contact with me, right?
Yeah. No,
I can give you
need
the stuff.
ruler.
Is that
It's
an
good.
architectural scale ruler?
I have the graph paper, like I have that, but
that ruler is not an architectural scale rule. So get one, okay? And if you don't have the stuff, call me up, man. I got a ton of it. I'll lend it to you. All right. Okay. So get this stuff because before I get out of this scale drawing thing, I'll finish this stuff. I want you guys to be able to draw a cabinet, draw smaller stuff to scale like furniture pieces. So you can draw your own cabinetry. You can draw your own bookcases. You can draw your own entertainment center, your base cabinets, your storage cabinets. You can draw stuff to store stuff in your garages. You can build cabinets and you can draw things, not just cabinets. But I also want you to be able to draw a simple floor plan. So you can draw a simple deck or a floor plan of a house or a room. So you understand that larger scale drawing and how to show windows and how to show doors. And that could really come in handy. And let's say, and here's a practical way it could come in handy. Let's say you're living somewhere, right? And the person that owns the house, you're renting from them, they say, you know, I'd really like to expand your bedroom. No one would see, you know, we could bootleg it. It wouldn't have to be permitted, but I'd like it to be done right. Could you do it? Like, could you start it? Could you draw it? And I want you to be able to say, yeah, dude, I could do that. And then draw it, right? Because what? If you can draw it, you can build it. Don't forget that, all right? If you can draw it, you can build it. Break, sketch and dimension, largest scale, title it, fit the 3 drawings. Okay, questions about that drawing, which I did kind of whip through. You know, John, if you couldn't keep up, did anybody keep up? Did anybody get that drawing done? Donna's got a rectangle. That's good. Alec, do you have any? Who else got a rectangle? A couple of rectangles. Okay. Hey, you've made tremendous strides. Who else? Let's see your stuff. And Noel, you can stop showing me your stupid ruler. Jose, dude, what the heck, man? That looks good.
It's a little off.
Oh, wow. Nice.
Yeah, looking good, man. Austin, did you do
Brilliant
anything?
T-square.
I kind of lost you around the drawers. and whatnot,
But you
but,
got paper and everything, right?
I got rectangles. I got
Okay,
stuff.
good. You got rectangles. So,
Yeah.
so is anybody confused or need some explanation on the concept of the scale rule and scale drawing? No? And you all understand where the inches are, right? You're using 3/4 scale, those are the inches, and the rest are feet. And then if you notice on this baby, besides the inches, how the hell did I get that? And the feet, 1, 2, 3, 4. Every one of these tick marks in the middle, like 28, 26. Well, that's reading from 3/8. So in the 3/8 scale, from 0, that's 28 feet in 3/8 scale. But going this way, we know that those tick marks in 3/8 are 6-inch marks. So if you want 30 inches to scale, you can go from 0 to 2 and the next tick. That's 30 inches, right? There. That's 30 inches. You want to go to 42, 3'6"? That's right there. You could also go 3'6", but if it's equal numbers, like 7'6", right?
You
And
hold
that
up,
happens on a whole bunch of this. 1-inch scale, same thing. They got hash marks in there at 6 inches. So familiarizing yourself with the scale, I'm going to show you something. A lot of things are digitized now. Lots of things are digitized, including takeoffs and reading plans with a scale. See that?
Yeah.
What is that?
Stopwatch?
That's what it looks like, doesn't it? It's a scale. It's just exactly, in some ways, just exactly like this. That's quarter scale right there. That's quarter scale. And so if I take it and run it on the paper, it tells me in quarter scale, I just went 30 feet. And if I keep going, if I'm doing a 1/4 inch plan and I'm taking off baseboard, I just keep going, right? Wall, inside a closet, around the corner, all that, right? And I just went 216 feet was my takeoff of baseboard. Isn't that cool?
Oh,
So that's how we do that stuff, you know, in doing takeoffs with scale rules. That's how you take a set of plans and you do a takeoff. And maybe I'll bring in a set. I'm starting this job over in, whose neighborhood am I in? Alec, right?
Yeah.
I'm starting a job over near Alec. I start tomorrow. I don't know if I told you guys about it, but I met these people. I met this guy on the golf course. He was a walk-on, and I think it was like early January. I don't think it was December, although it's possible it was December. And then, you know, we just hit it off. He's a really good golfer too. And down here from Seattle, they bought a house on Chelum, and they have plans into this county of Santa Barbara. They're in Montecito Board of Review at the time, expecting a permit within a couple of months to do this major remodel. So we're going to take this house. It's not even 2,000 square feet. I don't think it's 15 or 1,600 square feet, maybe. 3-bedroom, 2-bath house. And we're going to, I'm basically going to gut it, tear the roof off, tear out most of the interior walls, all the flooring, all the windows, all the doors. I'm going to recoat all the stucco. And basically gut the exterior, interior, and then add, grub the back, grub the whole lot completely, front and back, add about 900 square foot master suite, bath and bedroom, surrounding a patio, and then an in-ground spa, and a bunch of new landscaping. Be fun. And it's really a bare bones plan, but I'll show you the plan, and we'll do a little bit on a real floor plan, and maybe we'll do. I would like you to draw a room, and then I want to show you just a couple of things about doing a takeoff. And what I mean by doing a takeoff is that you can look at a set of plans and count how many doors you got to hang, and also how much trim you're going to need to case those doors. And then I want to show you casings at some point. We're going to do casings. I think I'll do that when I'm getting, I got to be evaluated. So I got to pick a day to be evaluated. You guys get to evaluate me too. Yeah. My chair will come and observe and do an evaluation. And then you all get to evaluate me too. Yeah, I keep, like, you see the side of my face, but I'm looking head on at you. But yeah, you all get to come and evaluate me. So don't miss that class. It'll be your chance. And it's anonymous too. I'll never find out. You can say whatever you want. No, I actually will find out. No, I'm kidding. There's no way I can find out. I'm only kidding. There's no way I can find out. Totally anonymous on your part. So questions? Any other questions? Questions about this drawing? About scale drawing? About, did you miss something that I went too fast on that you missed?
What do we have to do to get a walkthrough of your job when you're actually doing one of these?
Okay, that's a really good question. So depending upon, you know, where we're at with the job, I'll keep you apprised, you know, I'll keep the class apprised. All you got to do is contact me either via email, probably the best, or text, and just let me know that you're interested, or I'll throw it out and see how many people are interested, and you guys, we can do a job walk. You know, if we're getting into, I want to get to a job and film it for finish. I don't know how this thing's going to work. I just honestly don't know. I really do want to do the lab. So I'm just kind of getting a feel for it, and be thinking yourselves. I know I've thrown this out there. If you're willing or interested in coming here, besides Michael and Ryder. Ryder, you still here? I guess we lost Ryder. Ryder can have a bad connection sometimes. So there's 2 guys living out of the area, and so they can't make it, and I'll figure out something for them. But if everybody else is interested, we can mask up and do as much social distance, and we'll social distance and do the whole thing. But show of hands, are you guys interested in doing some kind of a lab/field trip to a job? Yeah?
Yeah, definitely.
Everybody? Okay, cool. Well, cool. good. Because I think that would be a lot more fun than just the video stuff and a hell of a lot less work for me because the video stuff, you know, I got to plan the video, go out there, shoot the video, and then I got to upload the video. I got to download the video, then I got to upload the video, and I got to mess around with it on YouTube, and then I got to watch it and narrate it with you guys. So it's unbelievable, really. I'd much rather just take you there if I can do it, if I can pull it off. But this will be into the rough stage, but I'll get you guys out there. And any other questions? Is anybody here tired? Anybody at all?
My dog is pretty tired. Check this guy out. Can you see him?
Yeah, he looks like any dog I've ever seen, like my dog, most of the time. Yeah, he likes to sleep with us though. Likes to lay on us. So I can't think of anything else to tell you. I got through this scale drawing stuff. I'll put this stuff up. Finish your drawing. If you have questions about scale drawing, ask me. You may get a quiz. Check your Moodle and maybe any announcements. Do check Canvas. Email me through Pipeline or my other email. You got them both, and I'll just see you next week. All right? Yeah, next week. Right? Next week. Yeah, next week. Because next week when I see you, you guys haven't been to Wake, but my 33-foot Winnebago fifth wheel trailer is parked here. But next Wednesday it won't be. It'll be clean. It'll be in front of my house. And then at Friday morning after class, I'm going to take my wife to Pismo. We're going to camp for 4 days up at Pismo Dunes for her 60th birthday.
Nice.
Yeah, it'll be killing. 60. Imagine being 60 years old. Yeah, right. I can imagine it. So, okay, no other questions? It's been a pleasure. I'll see you all next week. Anybody wants to hang around and ask me questions after, I'll be sticking around for a few minutes. But next week, okay? Week 5, module 5. Ciao. All.
All right, so yeah. All right.
Hey, Roger, how long is that project supposed to be up on Chellam?
6 months.
Nice.
6 months. And man, Monday, I'm starting a job up at the Piano House. Have you guys gone to Hut Construction yet?
No.
Check this out. I'll show you this house. Ready? I'll share the screen with you.
Oh, the website?
Yeah.
Yeah, I've been there. I haven't been to.
Let's see if I can hide these dang floating meeting. Okay. Go to.
It's the same guy who owns Hermitage, right?
Yeah, that's right. Do you know Ted? Ted Gardner?
No, but I think you showed us a few pictures of the first class.
Yeah. Yes, I mean, I may have. So, this place I'm working on Monday, well, I built this book, I built all this stuff, but I built it in the book house, which I won the Builder of the Year Award for, which is unbelievable. But that's his museum. This is his house, the piano house. It's all concrete, steel, and glass. It's all curved. The whole thing is curved. All the walls are curved. It's amoeba shaped, but there's a lot of grand piano motifs, including this $125,000 Baldwin grand piano. Oh my God! But that's the bathroom. I just finished putting in a walk-in tub. That's the kitchen. That's the kitchen. That island is the shape of the house. That's in scale, exact shape of the house. And dang it. Yeah, I don't have a picture of it.
Is that house on Mountain Drive too?
Yeah, that's on Mountain Drive too. It's 1600 West. It's right next door. Right next to the book house. But
He's got like the bike sculpture mailbox.
that's exactly the house. And so what we're doing on the living room wall is there's a sculpture that's popped out of the living room wall, and it's a full-size bronze of a woman in a tennis skirt, tennis togs, at the top of her serve, and her 2 feet are coming out of the wall, and then, and then and the fireplace is below that. And so it was a mirrored metal, and a log got loose and nobody was there, and it kind of melted the adhesive that caught a little fire there. So now I'm templating Monday with one of the guys from my construction, Victor, the guy that built that cabinet, making these perfect 1/2-inch plywood templates to fit all this stuff on this wall. Then this company will take them to Simi Valley and fabricate 16-gauge stainless and wrap it around the edges. So it'll all be this mirrored stainless, and then we'll get it back, and then we'll glue it onto the wall. The templates that we made fit. We'll put it on with a high heat adhesive and kick it off. It's going to be a tricky project. But it's that's the kind of stuff that's the most challenging. The hardest stuff is the most fun. It's all doable. There's almost nothing I've seen yet that I couldn't do, including the book house and the piano house. Imagine laying out that house. I laid that house out on a bare lot. Some of those radiuses were 54 feet radiuses. I had to strike 54-foot radiuses to lay out the walls and the foundations. So it's all just a big challenge, right? Bigger the challenge, the more fun. The better the opportunity. And it's kind of like in life, right? Same thing. Bigger challenges, bigger opportunities. So, which means to me that the bigger the bummer, the bigger the opportunity for growth. I know, it's insane, right? But I don't know if it's this way for you. I suspect it is for everybody. But for me, the worst things that ever happened to me in my life ultimately turned out to be the best things that ever happened to me in my life, because they challenged me the most growth came out of them. I had to work the hardest to overcome them. So at the time, when it hits the fan, nobody likes that. Nobody's going, oh, cool, great, another opportunity to get the living crap kicked out of me again. Nobody ever says that. It's just after the fact. It's when your perspective changes. In retrospect, and your perspective changes. That's the thing about perspective. It does change, especially time. Time changes everything. What else you got for me? Anybody? Yeah, John, I want to get you guys to a project. That would be really fun. Get us out here. Out there, but I'd like to get you in here too. We got a bunch of cool stuff in here. Really like you to see the tiny house, and I would love to do this staircase, and I've got all this bleacher material I want to make trim for, and build all the trim for the doors and windows in the tiny house. Be a really fun job. Really fun thing.
Hey, Rod.
Yeah.
Rodney, I was going to suggest, like, if you ever had anything in mind, like you were wanting to, like you suggested you were going to make, like you wanted to make a video on site or something you were working on, like, I don't know if you'd be into it, but I would always be willing to like help you like film the video.
So you could do camera for me?
Sure. I mean, like if it means coming to the job site and like checking it out.
Yeah, cool. I could do that. And thank you so much for volunteering, because I was thinking about some of the stuff I shot. It would be great to have a cameraman like that thing, right? So in doing that table saw thing, if I had a camera guy who could zoom in on the blade and zoom in on what was happening with some of those 30-degree cuts and stuff like that, would have been a much more effective video if I had.
That video, that was hard to follow along with, and I'm borrowing a friend's table saw, and I was trying to kind of recreate that stuff, but it was hard not being able to see it exactly.
So you weren't able to do the 30-degree shoulder miter?
I didn't really understand it. I was having a hard time following along. I got to go back to the video, and this table saw that I'm using, I don't know if it's exactly the best. It just feels really cheap. It's a Ryobi table saw.
Yeah, that probably is pretty cheap, but you can still do with a decent blade. And if you got a decent fence, if you trued up your fence and things are running parallel, which the blade should be running parallel to the fence, that should all be factory set, but you can tune it up and check it. You can make those, you just can't do big stuff, but you can do what I said, that's a really cool box joint. So for making boxes, that joint is killer, because it's a really good looking joint and it's a really strong joint and it's a miter joint. So even if you don't see the joint, you're still seeing, you know, the miter, and you're not seeing like a rabbet, you're seeing partial end grain.
Yeah, I haven't used the table saw that much, but I just kind of practiced some, like, I did like a 45-degree miter box, like sitting on like a rabbet base with like rabbeted edges.
Yeah.
So I just tried that, and yeah, I couldn't really visualize that 30-degree shoulder miter, but
Yeah.
I'll try. I'm gonna try it again. So
Do it, and I'll I don't know what I'll do. I'll go back through and look at it myself. But I was thinking when I was doing it, how cool it would be to be able to zoom into that blade, you know, without me hovering over the blade, you know, from back a ways. So yeah, anybody that doesn't understand that joint, you got to get that joint. You got to get that joint. If you get nothing out of this class but that joint, it'll be something you can take through your whole life, and no one else will know unless you took this class. I'm telling you, nobody knows that joint. You can.
I know you're
5,000. What's that?
There's like so much woodworking stuff on YouTube.
Yeah.
And so I was like, you know, that video didn't, like, it was kind of hard to follow that video. So I looked it up and I couldn't find a single thing.
Yeah.
So
you won't find one thing. Not one thing on it. It's weird. I don't know why. It's a great joint. And the guy that showed me is still alive. His name's Frank Taylor. He was my mentor. He lives in Sonora, California. He's just barely hanging in there. But anyway, he showed me that thing in 1972.
So you're going 30 degrees, and then when you go like vertical over it, that's like making the 60-degree cut.
The 60-degree cut is really the 30-degree cut that you make for the shoulder is really the 60-degree cut. But don't get confused by the numbers, because it's really just the mechanics of it. All you got to think of are the mechanics of the joint. The mechanics are pretty damn simple. Once you heel your blade to 30 degrees, right?
Mm-hmm.
You're going to run your work through there because you've taken the one that you put the 30-degree cut on that's going to sit on your shoulder. You put that up against your blade and you cranked your blade up till your blade, the outside set, the highest one of those teeth, is exactly dead flush with that cut. So it's going to make a cut as deep as this guy is thick, because you've set it up to do just exactly that. So that when you run this through on end, the piece that's you're gonna create the shoulder, right? You run that through on end, you're gonna take it right to the knife edge, because you want a little knife, you know, just as to zero, and you're gonna cut a 30-degree cut as deep as this guy is thick. And so that when you flip it over and put your blade to 90 now, you're going to take that, it's going to be very small, because you have got a board that looks like that. That's a kerf. That's this board right here that you ran through. You're going to go back and cut that off to make the shoulder. And there's your shoulder miter. And your 30-degree piece fits into it just like that. Do you see that? You see that? You're creating the shoulder so that your 30-degree piece fits in like that. And you created that because you curved it on end at 30 degrees, the depth of whatever this piece is thick. Whatever that thickness is, that's the depth of this cut. That's not the length of the cut. That's the depth in vertical. That's why you set this on the table saw and you crank your blade at 30 degrees up to exactly flush. So this cuts just as deep as this board is thick. So this goes through on in, makes that cut, and you just flip it over, take your blade back to 90, cut the shoulder, just run it through, that thing goes flying out, and you just made that to receive your 30-degree board. Sits on the shoulder, 3-degree miter. I can't explain it any better than that.
Yeah.
Especially as tired as I am. I gotta have
All right.
to-
Thanks, Rodney.
I'd love to be able to show you guys in the flesh someday. Who knows? It could happen. So I'll see you all next week, okay? And keep in touch. I'll be in touch with
Thank
you. Alec, I'll
Have
let you know I'm up at the job, and John, you guys just, Austin, keep in contact. If you guys you wanna see a job, I'll make it happen, okay?
All right.
Where am I?
Cool.
Thank you.
Talking your faces, yeah. I'll make it happen. It's so weird. This thing is like, I don't know, who gets used to this? It's pretty hard. It's pretty hard. Okay, guys, so have a good weekend. See you later, okay?
You too.
Rodney.
Bye. Thank you.
Bye. And I recorded the whole time, even the break.
Oh.
Oh, okay.